Check. Check, check. All right. What's up, everybody? So give me a quick second. Just need to set up and make sure everything's working. And once again, this is the Kickstarter live stream for a dual hand disaster tracker. For anyone who's new to this, I am streaming directly to Kickstarter, but at the same time, I also stream directly to all my other channels. So it goes to Twitch, YouTube, Periscope, Kickstarter Live, and if I'm not mistaken, also Mixer. It's been a while, so give me a quick second. All I'm trying to do is access some stuff here. Okay. All right. And feel free to ask any questions, of course, as always. If you guys have any questions about the Kickstarter, the game. Here we go. I did a real quick edit of a trailer I'm going to release tomorrow. And I just wanted to make sure and give you guys a heads up, since you guys are backing everything. You guys deserve first dibs on the announcements. So I'll have a really quick, like, rough edit of the trailer here, and then I'll make the announcement. Let me just make sure everything's working right. For those of you that show up early, that's the only thing that sucks. All right, so move this down here. Make sure this also isn't echoing. Mute that. And last time I was on, you guys a heads up, since you guys are backing everything, you guys deserve. All right, yeah. Just wanted to make sure it was echoing there. So I always do a thing where I forget to check the Q&A on the actual Kickstarter page. So if that happens to be the case, I don't want to do that this time. So I'm going to both check the chat and the Q&A. You would think it would show you some kind of live feed of it, huh? Stream chat. Okay. Huh. Oh, there you go. Let's go ahead and test something real quick. All right, sorry guys, I'm testing the Facebook Live beta version of Kickstarter, so this stream should go directly to the Facebook as well. Share the timeline, yeah. See if this works. And while that's going on, I will freeze this off. All right, sorry guys, I'm testing the Facebook Live beta version of Kickstarter, so this stream should go directly to the. Okay, there you go. So that's going good. What is up, fellas on Periscope? All right, give me a second. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask, and I'll get started in a sec here. All right, well. Hopefully this is working. If you guys have any questions, for any of you guys who are new to the Kickstarter, this is the Kickstarter for a dual hand disaster tracker. It is a split screen single player twin stick shooter. For those of you guys, a twin stick risk 'em up. Sorry, got to stay on brand there. Okay, give me a second. Sorry. See, all these technical hiccups. So just in case you guys didn't hear me, for those of you who have been coming to these live streams, I appreciate it. I will repeat myself a lot, and it's mostly for the people who are new and who haven't heard of what this Kickstarter is. Because again, I am streaming to Twitch, Periscope, Kickstarter, hopefully Facebook Live if this beta thing is working, and Mixer, I think, too. So anyway, a dual hand disaster tracker is a split screen single player twin stick risk 'em up. You're controlling two ships at the same time. Your primary goal on the left hand side is to destroy. So basically the way to make it super simple is destroy the left, get your points, recover resources on the right to multiply those points, and then you basically have to decide when to keep your score. So the primary goal of Tracker is to get a high score like any score-based game is. However, the only way to keep your score is to leave with it. So if you die in the process, you not only lose everything that you were working for, you also lose your leaderboard position as well. So yeah, what's up, man? It is a lot of streams, but you know, it's better to go out, you know, as on all of the streams you can, so that's always good. So anyways, yeah, let me get this video ready. Yeah. This is what's hard to manage, is trying to switch over all this stuff, so let me throw in a scene. And yeah, I've mentioned this before, but this particular this PC that I'm on right now is running a 1080 on the video card side, but on the CPU side it's running a AMD 8320E, so that tends to be my bottleneck there. Give me a sec, I need to set this up. All right, yeah, guys, I'm gonna add the just the rough edit of the trailer that I got here, the announcement trailer. Okay. Hopefully it doesn't crash anything. And hopefully it plays. Okay. All right, so let me switch real quick. All right, cool. So, let's go ahead and do this here. All right, you guys ready for the announcement? The announcement trailer? Let's see, you guys will probably get right away what it is. Again, this is a rough edit, so it's still missing some stuff. And it's not final, it's just, I wanted to show you guys a real quick edit of it for tomorrow. Let's go ahead and start it up then. All right, so that was it. It actually kind of cut off the very, very beginning, but you guys obviously get the idea of what I'm going for there. So yeah, a Dual Hand Disaster Tracker is coming to the Nintendo Switch, and it's been something I've been wanting to announce for quite a while now, but I've just now had the chance to do it. And yeah, give me a sec. Yeah. Switch hype? Yeah, totally, man. So I'm going to play a bit of it here because it did take a while to get this thing running. It wasn't, you know, magic. Using Unity lets you, I've kind of pointed this out a couple times, is when you're on Unity, it's really easy, or relatively easy, to basically make the game on all sorts of different platforms, right? But there's always all sorts of other things that you need to account for. So there's like input. So, you know, now you have these kind of things instead of, I know most of you have probably already seen a Switch, but if you haven't held one in your hands, it's actually really cool. I have it docked right now because that's how you're going to get the video feed right now. But yeah, it's actually really cool. I really, really like, oh, thanks, man. Yeah, so yeah, it's totally awesome to be able to announce for the Switch. Like, I had a couple people ask me over the Kickstarter, you know, is Switch a platform? Do you think you'll be releasing on Switch? Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I have a frequently asked questions section where I put a question up for the Vita. I think I might have left it in there. Because people have asked about the Vita, because when I first announced the game, it was coming to Vita. But right now, the game runs like absolute ass on Vita. Like, I can't even get it to run, actually. And honestly, that's not so much a Vita problem. It's more me. Like, I could probably still optimize it to work on Vita. But yeah, it's kind of like every console, every platform has its different, you know, inputs or whatever. So, for example, the neat thing about that I really, really liked about the Switch, and I was actually worried about it, you know, how the game would run on it, because again, when I first started the game, I started working on it on the Vita, and you know, it was really simple. It was just the 2D sprites and whatever, and it was running really well. But then once I got PS4 dev kits, I got carried away with using like, with basically using like, you know, shaders and all sorts of fancy stuff. So when I was thinking about doing the Switch, I didn't have my own Switch, so I also was wondering, you know, I know it did Legend of Zelda really well, but that's also Nintendo, so they kind of know what they're doing. So I kind of wanted to, I was really worried about how it ran, especially hearing all these stories about how the Switch was basically like a Android kind of based or whatever. But, you know, once I actually got my hands on it, I actually obviously love that it has the dual triggers on the top, so you have your bumpers and your trigger. It's not just, you know, like on the Vita where you just have the shoulder buttons. So that's kind of cool. The only thing is, it gets, I don't know, it's a little uncomfortable. I think it's because the offset of the sticks, like on the Xbox 360, the offset on the sticks is cool because you have a controller in your hand, and the balance of the weight of the controller, right, is kind of, it offsets why the sticks are that way. Where like when you have a DualShock 4 and both sticks are at the bottom, that also kind of it lends some of the weight to the front, right? So it kind of tips forward a little bit. I mean, the DualShock 4 is actually a lot better than the 3, but yeah, I really, really like the sticks. So also people have gotten into the idea of how when you have two controllers, when they're actually split like this, you can actually give one of the controllers to someone else and they could just play the other side. Again, for those who have come in and aren't familiar with the game, it's basically a split screen single player game. So people will come up and see the game, see it split screen and wonder who's playing the other side. Then when they find out they're controlling both sides, it's pretty intense. So anyway, I wanted to show you guys this early build of the game. And again, remember, this is on the Switch, so the frame rate is a little choppier. And that's nothing, you know, on the Switch itself, it actually runs pretty well. When you actually dock it, I see a little more hitching on the frame rate here. So let's go ahead and switch over here real quick. And you'll also see, so some of those shaders that I was talking about are a little off. So on the console and the PC version, when the ship is kind of angled, you see that it's got this like really like thick bloom effect and depth of field. But when you play it on the Switch, it's not as powerful. Also, it is super powerful, but not that much. So there's something with the shaders that look really weird. Nice, awesome, dude. Yeah, so that's actually, you know, what a lot of people say when they cross by the game. They think it's a split screen multiplayer game, but then it's not. So let me go ahead and switch over here. And also, let me know if the audio here is too loud or whatever. Okay, it actually froze. Let me refresh it here. So again, this also goes back to how I'm talking about this Razer Ripsaw capture card, which is pretty shitty. I can't stand it, but you know, it's what I got. So yeah, this is the Switch version. Let's see here. So let's start this up. Notice that right there is already a little framey. You could kind of tell it's not as smooth. Also, HD rumble is something that got my attention when I found out about the Switch. That I thought was pretty cool. That I need to kind of optimize for it right now too. So right now it's maxing out the rumble on both sides. So the neat thing is the rumble on the Switch is actually super, because of, I guess, the individual stick controllers, right? The Joy-Cons or whatever. So when I'm on this resource, I actually do feel it like I intended to, only on the right side. So that's super cool. So you can actually get some feedback while you're doing that. And then on the left-hand side, the only time the controller rumbles is either when you boost or when you shoot something you're not supposed to. So, yeah. Oh, at the same time, this is a newer build of the game too. So, some simple things here and there. For example, on the left-hand side, the trackers now don't pass through you anymore. They'll actually bounce off you just like that. So yeah, there's some cool shit you can do with that. But yeah, so see, it vibrates there when I boost on the left. Again, this is really tough to do while you're talking and playing the game. But, and yeah, if any of you guys are new to the stream and you have questions about what this game is or what, you know, what it's all about, feel free to just throw them in the chat. Game audio is a touch loud. Thank you, sir. All right. Could be also I was a little scatterbrained. Whole enemy bouncing thing is a... Oh yeah, totally, man. So it's for the sake of feedback. So there were moments where like you would shoot these guys, and if you didn't blow off their shield, they would just keep coming at you. And that kind of sucked sometimes because they would just pass right through you, and you kind of wanted to still keep them up, right? And now they actually will. So as long as you stay there, they'll keep hitting you. And that's also not necessarily final. Like, I might still find a way to tweak that a little more. I originally thought, you know, oh, I could take some of your link if you just kind of keep bouncing it back and forth. But honestly, if these enemies are going to keep coming at you, it's not that big a deal. Again, when people actually play the game, that usually changes everything, though. So I will be at Sam Arcade this weekend in Washington, D.C. So I'm sure I will get some feedback from seeing people's reactions to it there. So this is also another neat thing about the Switch. You can tell on the right-hand side, see how the colors are kind of off? The Razer Ripsaw is also kind of saturating the screen, so it actually isn't as dark as it is on your guys' screen, I would assume. It's a lot lighter on my side, but the Ripsaw kind of darkens it up. But anyway, so my point was that on the Switch, like, you still get this watery effect on the left-hand side, which is super rad. So when I first got the dev kit and I started messing with it, it wasn't showing up. So the shader that provides that, which is called refraction, the shader wasn't building on the Switch. So it was just like it wasn't even showing up. It wasn't even like a static image. It was just like not there. So it was just all gray. And it took me a while to basically, I have to figure out if it's an issue with Shader Forge or whatever the case, but I ended up just using the standard assets in Unity, and it looks good. It works, so I'm down with that. I noticed that with the parts look kind of grayed out. Yeah, so that's kind of the thing is, right, you pull down on the right over here, and right there, it's like, it's supposed to be blurry, like, that's kind of the thing. If you see the PC version, I'm actually going to stream some of the PC version again tomorrow because my brother's working on something that I want to, a controller that I want to show you guys that I might end up taking with me to Sam Arcade. But anyway, yeah, so that's kind of the thing I'm pointing out there is that when you see the PC version, it looks like hella nice. Like even all these colors are super colorful, even like off in the distance. Right now there's like a, yeah, totally, man. I will be on tomorrow showing that build tomorrow with obviously that controller. It's a custom built controller my brother built for me for the arcade specifically, which if it turns out pretty well, yeah, you never know. You might be able to figure something out with that. So. Also, Serge, if you're still, Sergio, if you're still in the chat there, just want to let you know, man, like, I really appreciate you reaching out with that stuff about the leaderboards, man. I'm definitely going to give that a look as soon as I get a chance. I haven't had a chance to really look into it. So don't take it as I'm ignoring you or didn't take your advice. Like, dude, wholeheartedly appreciate that. Let's see here. Material retrieved. Yeah, so if you notice, the frame rate is also kind of already dropping a bit on the right side. You tend to notice it a little more on the right, and that's because I also have some motion blur on the right side, so that kind of muddies up this whole look of the right as well. But again, this is a work in progress for the Switch version. The whole purpose of the Kickstarter is to have enough time to release on all of these platforms at once. So watch, and this is actually where you'll notice is when the frame rate drops. I'm gonna activate my shields, and Jeremy, you're familiar with this because you know what I'm talking about. When you activate your shields is on the right hand side. That's how on the left hand side it's basically going to, let's see here. Okay, see what's up, man? Oh, shit. Yeah, so this is the Switch version, man. So for you guys in the chat, KC here actually does a podcast called the Switch Cast, which is all nothing but Nintendo stuff. Switch specifically, obviously, right, man? Sorry if I'm delayed. I'm actually... I'm paying attention to so many damn screens right now. I have a screen down here with the XSplit feed to make sure it's not freezing. Then I have the actual TV screen here to pay attention to the game. And then I have 2 split screens on the game. So yeah, do the math, man. So it's actually not super complicated, man. Like you guys obviously can talk amongst yourselves in the chat. There's a couple of people in the chat who have played this before, Casey. So if you have any questions, man, they can obviously help you answer them if I'm not paying attention to your chat. For you guys who are in the chat, the Kickstarter Live page also has a chat, so that's where I'm getting his questions from. So yeah, let me just go through it, man. Since you're here, I can kind of go over some of this stuff. So again, for anyone who just joined, this is the Switch version, so it's not fully optimized. I basically just announced today to the Kickstarter backers, anyone who's obviously watching, that this game is now coming to the Switch. A Dual Hand Disaster Tracker is a split-screen, single-player, twin-stick risk-em-up. On the left-hand side, you want to destroy all these enemies to get your points. On the right-hand side, you're recovering resources like these things here on the right that will help you multiply the points that you're getting. So if you're picking up a resource and you're killing an enemy at the same time, you're multiplying those points in real time. So watch, let me try and bring this guy's shield down real quick. Get his health down and stay on this. Notice I got 250 points instead of 5. So you do want to be doing that, and obviously, you know, material comes up a lot quicker, so you want to get on that and then kill the enemy. And I have a shortcut right now where you can kind of get on the resource and hold A and it picks it up quicker, but that's more of a pro tip. It's not something you necessarily have to do because there's already so much to do. And if you notice, your main score is up at the top center of the screen, right? So 2,000 is what I'm getting right now for having 780 points of destruction on the left side. Notice 780 just went up to 785. And material on the right side. So I want to pick up material, right? So every time I pick up material, it multiplies my overall score. Every time I use material, it drops my score. And the reason you want to use material is, notice in the center of the screen, it says link. I'm right now down to 22%. So if I move around, notice I'm starting to black out on the left-hand side. What I need to do on the Switch controller is I tap Y. Usually it's X or square. So I tap Y, I sacrifice material, my score just dropped. So you want to be picking up as much material as you can so that you can be multiplying those points. Obviously at the start, you basically want to just grab all your upgrades on the left, so you upgrade your rate of fire, unlock new weapons, and you obviously don't want to shoot them just like that because you do lose points. Give me a sec. I noticed, does Disastrous Core no longer damage you? No. Good question, Jeremy. As a matter of fact, Disastrous Core now works in your benefit. So notice the enemies coming at me. This tracker here on the right side that you guys see following me is the enemies that I'm letting pass me on the left. So all these enemies on the left, that's what those guys are. So the way I can get rid of them is go into Disastrous Core and it'll actually destroy them. But if you notice, there's a bar that starts to fill up. When that bar fills up completely, yeah, let's just not let that happen because you don't want that to happen. So again, let's just keep doing this. Man, this is really hard to do while I'm talking to you guys, but hopefully I'm doing a good job of at least explaining what's going on. While I do that, let me make sure I'm not missing Q&A. Alright, sounds good. Cool. Alright, so let's go ahead and move down here. So yeah, also on the right hand side you have your defenses. On the left hand side you have your weapons. So notice in the top left and right corners you'll see on the left side you have your repeater, your boost, your scatter shot, and your missiles. On the right hand side you have your BFP, which I'll go ahead and blow one off real quick just so you see. Ha! Blowing off. So triple tap the right trigger. What that does is it clears out the screen and it sucks in any material around me. So, you know, it's a good thing to do, but the thing is you need to pay attention because if you use it too often, you're gonna drop weapons or defenses on the right-hand side and you're gonna make it way more difficult for yourself. So, the primary goals you want to leave with your score, the only way to leave with your score is to fill up your extract in the bottom center of the screen. Notice it says 25%. So I need to be picking up parts and I have not been doing that. So let's go ahead and do this. Let me pick that up. Notice the extract went up to 50%. I also now got my boost back. Let's go look for the orange. So this color thing, because of this shader, I can't really tell the arrows. I can tell because of the size. I wonder if this is what it feels like for someone who's colorblind. Everything looks like the same color to me. Wyatt, sorry man. I actually missed that you were in here. Alright, thank you guys for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Alright, so notice now I'm at 75%. Let's go ahead and check this out here. Alright, so pick this one up. And I'm being a little careless only because I want to make sure I can do this. So, alright, notice now in the bottom center of the screen it says extract ready. That means from this point forward I could leave with my score if I wanted to. But if I stay in and risk it, push myself even harder, then I can obviously get a lot more points because I'm actually picking up more material, getting a ton more points. However, again, if I die, I lose everything. So just for the sake of it, I'll go ahead and show you guys what happens when you leave. It's nothing fancy right now. You basically just leave the level. So what you do is you hold up on the D-pad and Y. And you can't take damage while you're doing that, so you need to be super careful. Yeah. Oh no, man, you're not forgettable at all. It's really hard to keep track of this chat. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. All right. Yeah, just making sure I'm not missing anything in the chat. And over here, you got Casey. Yeah, so maybe that's why I made this game, huh? So Casey is on the Kickstarter chat for you guys who are on this stream is going to different places: Twitch, YouTube, Mixer. So I have chats from all sorts of different people as well, using Restream.io. See, this is a thing, guys. This is one of the main reasons why I like having these. Let me show you here. It's one of the reasons why I like having these kind of streams. Is you get to learn a lot from like people, the tools that they use and stuff like that. So, for example, right now I'm using Restream.io, and Restream.io lets you basically stream from XSplit to Restream, and then Restream will actually restream it to all the other accounts that you have. And it's really cool for stuff like this because you get to go out to Periscope, like whoever, like Periscope is cool because it's super random, but it's like whoever actually goes out of their way to stream to Periscope, right? So that's always super rad. And Restream also does this thing where they'll like combine all your chats into one window, which is super rad, except it doesn't support Kickstarter because it's like a kind of new thing. So I have to have the Kickstarter stream on the other window going on, and making sure that I'm not missing any Q&As and stuff like that, because there's nothing worse than people kind of asking something and not getting their answer. But yeah, so again, Casey, I know you're new to this. I know you're new to the game, guys. For those who just tuned in, Casey runs a Switchcast podcast, so perfect timing because I'm announcing the Switch version today. If you have any questions, man, like if anything's not making sense, when you actually get your hands on it, though, it makes a huge difference in understanding the game. So yeah, I don't see any questions in particular, so I'll go ahead. And you've made some great additions, modification of the game, and pleased to see the progress. Awesome, thank you, sir. Yeah, so most of it is kind of under the hood stuff that I was working on, but the other stuff is also just kind of like visual stuff. Yeah, so like this whole thing here right now with the leaderboard and everything, this is new. This wasn't at PAX South, and I think that's where you saw it, Jeremy. Wyatt, you probably have not seen this since Minecon, I would assume. So yeah, a lot of this stuff is totally different. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's see. So yeah, if the enemies pass you on the left-hand side, they'll spawn on the right-hand side. So think of it like this. On the left-hand side, the reason the game starts off and says destroy the left, and then it says protect the girl, is because you're trying to keep the enemies out of the Disastrous Core. The Disastrous Core is what starts to pull out, what starts to push out all the material and the parts and stuff. So you are basically trying to keep her safe while she recovers all the resources so you guys can get the hell out with your score. That's the basic, like, you could get super emo about it, but that's the basic story. So that's what happens on the left, is if those enemies pass you. But there's benefits to it, so there's pros and cons to that whole thing. Okay, so yeah, there's pros and cons to letting them pass you. For example, if you let them pass you but they get destroyed on the right, you can actually boost into them and get material. So again, the devil's in the details. There's so many little things that you'll probably see right now when I start to play. Here's another thing I want to show also is, the camera's kind of in the way. Let me see. Okay, so what happens here is you can now, this is going to be tier 2. Tier 2 is, again, the game is the exact same thing. The only thing is in tier 2, you basically have, it's the same game outside of heat-seeking fireballs. So now you're going to have fireballs that are coming at you. However, as long as you keep them from hitting the ship on the right-hand side and you just kind of feather the stick a little, you'll actually get what's called a kite bonus. And with that kite bonus, you'll be multiplying your points by 2,000. So if you're killing an enemy on the left-hand side, at the same time, you're multiplying your score by 2,000. So you're getting up to 20,000 shots in 20,000 points in one shot. So yeah, that's really, really intense. But yeah, you'd be surprised, man, how many people, like, you know, will get scared, will get like intimidated, but they jump in and they dig it. And you know, I dig that. It's awesome. So anyway, this wager system is also new. Well, not entirely new, but you know, for you, Casey, the wager is basically you're going to wager part or all of your previous score. What happens now is you'll have to reach that score before you earn it as a bonus. At the same time, if you die, your leaderboard position is now wiped out and goes back to the position that you chose. But if you chose 100%, you go down to 0. So yeah, if I were to choose, say, 2813, then if I died, I wouldn't lose everything. I would go to 2813. If I wager 100%, I'm going to get those bonus points on top of my score. But then also, if I wipe, though, my leaderboard position is now 0. So let's go ahead and give this another shot. Again, this is tier 2, so we'll have those heat-seeking fireballs. Living on the edge, indeed, my man. And this isn't even tier 3. So when you guys see tier 3, hopefully I can make it through tier 2. Some of you have seen tier 3. Jeremy, I know for sure, has seen tier 3. Sergio, of course, also has seen tier 3. Let's see. So I'm going to do the shortcut here of picking up everything quicker. Again, it's a pro tip. I just want to leave that in there. Like if you guys have some privileged information there. What you do is you get on the part, hold down A or B on the Switch controller, and you'll pick up the resource a lot quicker. So there are the heat-seeking fireballs. Notice if I keep them from hitting the ship, 20,000 points. Pretty intense, huh? And they do have a timer on them, so they will die. They will die in time. However, you can also use that to your advantage. So if you see that there's a fireball, Jesus, that was close. If you see that there's a fireball coming at you, and you see it's right about to run out, and you actually want to keep the kite bonus going, what you can do is just lead it into another fireball, and it'll basically reignite it. So, reignite it, and that feels so good. Pretty smooth, huh? Let's see. So you're not taking out the ability to pick up things, to pick things up. Just oh yeah, no, I'm gonna leave that in because I think it's actually super rad. Like for those people who kind of want to speed things up. Honestly, that was a reason I did it, man. Is I did it because I wanted to speed things up for the sake of like showing the game to people, right? It would take me too long to just be like, all right, I need to sit on here, whatever. And there's a purpose for it also, right? So if you are actually sitting on the resource, fuck, this is really tough. If you're sitting on the resource, obviously if you're killing the enemy at the same time, you're multiplying the points. But there's also a benefit to you getting your material and your resources a lot faster. So yeah, again, as I want to do with this game, every action has an equal or opposite reaction. So, you know, kill that guy. And yeah, this thing is actually really, these controllers, like, I know people like the idea of being able to hold 2 separate controllers. It's just the layout. It's the way they're laid out. It's these little thin, paper thin, like fucking controllers, as opposed to like a beast, you know, like DualShock 4 or like the Xbox One controller. Yeah, don't mind me if I'm staying quiet for a bit. I actually want to try and focus a little. I want to show you guys gameplay, and if I'm talking to you guys, it makes it a little hard to do. Also, every time you pick up material, that's what spawns the upgrades. So if you're not picking up material, you're not getting upgrades. At the same time, every time, okay, I noticed it froze there. See, so give me a sec. Let me just refresh this. Again, razor rips off, piece of shit. Okay. So yeah, every time you pick up material, it will, spawn upgrades on the left. And every time you kill a tracker on the left, that's what spawns material. So, yeah, you don't do something, you don't get anything for it. So here's actually another pro tip. See this guy all damaged here on the right? Oh fuck, I took damage. Okay, I'm gonna come in here to the disastrous core. As long as I didn't. As long as I stay in there and they're coming at me, it's kind of like a safe space. So, whoa, shit. All right, fuck, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Ah! Okay, so I'm gonna try another quick run. I really want to show you guys tier 3 for those of you who kind of just jumped in or whatever, or haven't seen, you know, this is maybe your first time seeing the game if you're new on Twitch, you know, Kickstarter, whatever the case. Let's see. Thanks for the quick rundown. Got to record the podcast now. We'll dev chat about it. Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you, sir. All right. Yeah. Let me do a quick restart real quick, and then we'll call it a night. There's some stuff I got to do anyway. Also, I also don't want to keep you guys too long. Rest in peace indeed, my man. So yeah, let me try and get through this as soon as I can. And I'll move this window over here so I can pay attention. All right. All right, let me try and do a run. This is one of the things I was talking about, man, is like, you know, people want to stream the game and that's cool and all, like I fucking love that. But trying to imagine a streamer like try to focus on the game and then his community. I can't wait to see that once this game's out in the wild. I know you can't answer me directly, Wyatt, but if you're still there, man, I'm hoping your shit's going pretty well. Feel free to, you know, leave me a message in the chat and I'll check it out when it's done. Or send me an email on your updates, man. I'm hoping to see you sometime soon at another event. See if I can get to the level of maximizing my multiplier and everything. Actually, I'm just trying to get to tier 3, so that's true. Let's make sure we get out of here. Can't wait to pull that off. To pull what off, Jeremy? Sorry, I missed it. Trying to focus on all this stuff. Oh yeah, totally. So the two sides are, I told you that before, that the idea was I wanted to have them both relate to each other. Again, dude, a lot of that stuff was still, you know, even though I was so deep in, I'm still trying to like finalize some of this stuff, right? So yeah, so also I don't think, no, it wasn't in South, at South I didn't have the activation of the disastrous core yet. So you had to actually, the game would just start, and now you actually kind of start it up. And it gives more weight to each side, you know, and also it kind of teaches you about the following of the arrows on your ship and stuff. So I think it was at GDC at the mega booth, I didn't have the pointer on the right side, so you would just kind of, actually even up to Evo this year, a couple weeks ago, I didn't have the pointer on the starter, so the disastrous core wasn't being pointed to. So people are just kind of roaming on the right side, not knowing where they were going. But now that I've added it, I noticed people start to pay attention to it a lot more. Fuck, I need to focus. Fuck, I just wasted it. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna get through this as soon as I can. Repair successful. I also had my girlfriend play with me where, you know, I did the thing, obviously, because my buddy Todd is the one who's always telling me to get people to play with one controller or whatever, so they get used to the you know, sides and everything. Okay, going to tier 3. Tier 3, suckers! Yeah, so my buddy Todd's the one who's always telling me to get people to play it as a co-op game so they can get familiar with the controls and stuff. And, you know, it doesn't necessarily make the game that much easier. But even on the Switch with like the separate controllers for everybody, that also kind of makes it tough. it doesn't necessarily make it that much easier. So, all right, so this is tier 3, guys. This is what I wanted to show you guys over anything. So now what happens is when I pick up material, you'll see a bonus here in the center of the screen, and that bonus will be the end of me. All right, here we go. Let's see what I get. So they kind of randomize. They're scattered around. Wait for that timer to count down. Damn it. Okay, so Ice Cream Social. How to best deal with socialism. You don't participate in it. Otherwise, all these points that you're getting will actually be subtracted from your score. So what you want to do is not do anything. Counts the timer down a lot quicker. Now I'm at negative points because they took everything that I got. So now I got to get it back. And it's not so bad. You can actually recover from it. It's all about just lesson learned. So let's see what I get this time. Hopefully I don't die. Okay, Ice Cream Social again. Don't do anything. Goes away a lot quicker. Bam. All right, I'm back to 0. Let's do this here. Whoa! Oh yeah, and you still have heat-seeking fireballs. Shit. Alright. I hope I get to show you guys the one I want to see the most, which is one of my favorites. Oh shit, inversion. Okay, so you guys can't see what's going on, but basically my up is down, my down is up, my left is right, right is left on the right hand side. But as long as I'm picking up resources like material, I'm multiplying at 5, so I would get 5 times the material. But yeah, it's hella more risky. Oh shit, oh shit. I thought I was still inverted there for a second. That was weird. But yeah, look at those points, man. That's, you know, a lot higher than it was in the first tier. Oh shit, Ice Cream Social. Come on. Get my upgrades at least. Alright. Oh, come on. But yeah, this whole switch thing with the colors being drained out. Oh shit! Cross-eyed! Alright, so as long as I'm killing enemies on the left. Oh! Alright, no problem, man. Thank you. Thank you for stopping by. I died anyway, so that's pretty much the end of the stream for today. I will be back tomorrow showing the PC version and the hardware, the actual controller that my brother made for me. And we'll see how that works. I'm actually super stoked to test that out. Give me a sec. Just want to make sure I didn't miss out on any questions or anything. All right, Casey said that. Yeah. So this whole thing with the this whole thing with tier 3, with, you know, the idea of the game messing with you, that originally was a way for your community to basically mess with you. So if people were watching you play the game, they could hashtag the game with the different what are called EVA control types. And they would just, you know, spam the chat, and then I would take an aggregate of what, or an average of whatever people were voting for, and then, you know, spawn that one on you. And that's still an option. As a matter of fact, when I was at E3 this year, I had a meeting with Microsoft about Mixer, because Mixer is a way for like you know, you guys who are doing stuff on Twitch to, or, you know, it's going to have to be on Mixer because I don't think they're cross-platform in that sense. But you can actually have your community, you basically like lay out an input system for the community that's watching you. And then they will basically chat, or I don't even know if it has anything to do with commands. I think what they actually do, give me a sec. Yeah, I think what they actually do is they actually click on the buttons that are on the screen. So like there's this guy at Evo who brought up a good idea because he's on Mixer. And his thing was like, dude, what I want to do with my community is have them play one of the sides and then I'll play the other side. And, you know, like I'm always talking about my buddy Todd making a big thing about 2 people playing it because it's really meant to be one. I'm actually down with that idea. Like the idea of like, you know, this big mass, like collective controlling one side and then he's controlling another. And here's the thing, you all still have to decide when to leave. So, you know, you could be spamming or holding down the X or the Y button or whatever, and you're yelling at your chat to press the button, right? So for them to press up, because both up and Y have to be pressed. And if there's some asshole in your chat who's like, nah, man, fuck that, and he starts spamming like, don't hit the button, you guys are screwed. So it really is. It really sounds like something super interesting that I can't wait to see if that happens, you know? Yeah, I've got a friend who streams on Mixer. He's got a bunch of sound clips below the stream, and you can just click on them. Huh. So sound clips, what do you mean by sound clips? Like, what happens with that? Like, what do they do? Let's see here. All right, yeah, so let me, for any of you who just jumped right back in, let me run that real quick edit of the trailer real quick. We'll start it up again. For any of you guys who just joined the stream here, I'm gonna run the announcement trailer for, it's a quick edit of the announcement trailer for the Switch. And here we go. All right, so yeah, that is basically it. That's the Switch version. Actually, that footage is PC footage, and I'm going to put that in the trailer as well because it's not the thing. For every minute you sit in the stream, you earn some sort of points, and you can spend these points to play sound clips. You click a button below the stream, it costs a certain amount of points, and the audio clip plays for the stream for everyone to hear. Oh, yeah, you know what? That's true. I forgot about that. Like when I had that meeting with Mixer, they were talking about the different things of the way like points, like you garner up points or something like that, and it sounded kind of cool. And again, it definitely is something that I want to look into. So yeah, for sure. It's definitely something I'm going to try. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. Please, even if this isn't a game that you think you'd be interested in, if you think you know someone who is, feel free to point them to the Kickstarter. I'd really appreciate any help. I will be in Washington, D.C. this weekend for Sam Arcade at the Smithsonian. If you guys have any questions, either send them to me at askanatomystudios.com/contact. You can also send questions through the Kickstarter as well. Do not hesitate to ask questions. The whole purpose of this Kickstarter is for me to quit my day job and focus on this game full-time for the last 10%. Obviously, since you guys saw that I just announced a Switch version, I would love to release all platforms all at once. And that's kind of the purpose of the Kickstarter, is for me to be able to focus and do that. Otherwise, I'll still continue on this trajectory. So failing the Kickstarter doesn't mean the game's not going to be done. It just means it's going to take me longer because I have to keep the day job and have to come home and do all sorts of shit and then work on the game. But that's, you know, that's up to you guys. I'm going to work on the game regardless and get this out as soon as I can and give you guys the best fucking game that I could fucking make. So, yeah. I appreciate you guys stopping by, and I got to get out of here because I got to go pick up the controller at my brother's and get ready for the stream tomorrow. So, you know, stop by tomorrow. I will be here with the PC version, which runs a lot better. It's obviously more optimized. And yeah, unless anyone else has any questions, I apologize for those people on Facebook. Let me actually see. I don't even know if the Facebook version was going. I could check the chat over there really quick. All right. I don't see any questions in the chat, so okay. Yeah, the Facebook stream tends to be a little pickier. But anyway, thank you guys very much for coming out. Jeremy, keep doing your streaming, man. If you haven't, keep it up. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you very much for sticking around.